July 7th is World Chocolate Day, and what better way to celebrate than with a delicious chocolate recipe cooked in your Thermomix. I'm going to be making our classic chocolate fondant with a little twist to make that chocolate fondant even more luxurious and delicious. This recipe could not be simpler, and it is on Cookie Dough right now, so you can go and make it as soon as you finished watching this video. It has very few ingredients, it's a very simple method, and the result is really impressive. So I've got everything ready in front of me here. Basically, we're going to go in with 100 grams of golden caster sugar. I have halved this recipe, but the full recipe will make 6 chocolate fondants. So 100 grams of golden caster sugar, and we're just going to blitz that up into a fine powder. So pop it up to speed 10, and it should be about 15 seconds. Let's take a look. You can obviously use any sugar that you've got at home. If you have caster sugar, that will work equally as well. You're just looking for a beautiful, fine powdered sugar like that. So transferring that to a bowl. There we go. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit left in the mixing bowl when you're done, because it will be incorporated with the rest of the elements that are going in next. So sugar done, mixing bowl going back onto the machine, and now we're going to go in with our chocolate. So I'm using a really lovely, rich, dark chocolate. I highly recommend cooking and baking with the highest quality chocolate you can find. Fair trade and from small local producers is best if possible. So that's going in, and we're just going to blitz that up along with 90 grams of cold unsalted butter, which I've cut up into pieces. So that's going in, and we're going to blitz that up at turbo about twice, just until it's nicely cut down and incorporated together. So let's go. There we go, that should be sufficient. Let's take a look. And then we're basically going to melt down the chocolate and the butter together until they are lovely and silky and melted. Go, let me take a look. Yep, that's great. It doesn't have to be completely broken down, just into smaller chunks. I'm just scraping down the sides of my mixing bowl lightly. So now you're going to melt this together for about 2 minutes at 50 degrees, speed 1. Give it a check. If it isn't completely smooth and melted, just repeat that step again until it is lovely and smooth. Meanwhile, you're going to have your ramekins ready. So I've just got 2 large ramekins, but you can do 6 small ones, 4 larger ones, whatever suits you. You are going to be eating these fondants directly out of the ramekin, so you don't need to worry about turning them out perfectly. Just generously grease them with butter, just so that they don't stick completely to the base of the ramekin. And have your oven preheated to 210 degrees or 230 degrees if your oven is not fan assisted. So I can see that this is not quite as melted as I want it to be. There are still some chunks of chocolate and butter in there, so I'm just going to repeat that step. Maybe not for the full 2 minutes, I might do 1 minute, but also at 50 degrees, speed 1. Right, so I can now see that this is perfectly melted, really molten, smooth, shiny, so we're ready to move on to the next step. So now you're just going to go in with your remaining ingredients, which is our reserved icing sugar. So that's going in. Make sure you get all of it in there. There we go. And then we're going to go in with our flour, just plain flour, 50 grams for the half recipe. And finally, our eggs. So I've got 1 whole egg and 2 egg yolks for this quantity. And we're just going to mix that together for 10 seconds at speed 4, scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl and repeat that until it's beautifully smooth and incorporated. So that's looking good, but I can see there's still some flour up the sides of the mixing bowl, so I'm going to scrape that all in, make sure it's all beautifully incorporated. It smells amazing, really rich and chocolatey. This is truly a chocolate lover's dream, this dessert. And another 10 seconds at speed 4. There we go. And then my top secret ingredient, which I'm adding in, and I recommend you do as well, is salted caramel. So all I've done is made a basic caramel. I've added a little bit of coarse sea salt at the end, and it's been transferred to a piping bag and chilled down until very cold. Now what you're going to do is you're going to half fill your ramekin with your chocolate mixture, and then you're going to pipe in a big blob of salted caramel in the center and then top it off with the rest of your fondant mixture so that you have a gorgeous molten center of both chocolate and caramel. So as I said, pouring about halfway full chocolate first. That mixture looks beautiful and velvety. And now piping in a lovely big blob of our salted caramel. So just cutting a small hole in the tip of my piping bag and just piping a luxurious amount of salted caramel in there. Might leak out a little bit out the sides while it bakes, but that's all part of its decadence. So caramel in, perfect. And now we're going to top that off with the rest of our chocolate mixture. There we go. Beautiful. And now these are going to bake in our oven, 210 degrees fan assisted, for about 12 to 15 minutes, keeping a careful eye on them. You'll know they're ready when they are lightly cracked along the top, but do not be tempted to overcook them, otherwise you will lose out on that beautiful molten chocolate center. So these are going to go in, and I'll see you in just a few minutes with the finished result. So this has been in the oven for 13 minutes. It's got a beautiful cracked appearance on top, and we've had a little bit of spillage of caramel off the side, so we know that it's perfectly molten in the middle. So now all that's left to do is to take a giant bite of pure decadence. Lovely gooey chocolate and caramel come together in the middle, and a beautiful soft chocolate sponge surrounds it. I honestly cannot fit this all in my mouth, so I'm going to have to actually take a smaller bite. There we go. You can even see the little bits of caramel have started to kind of blend in with the sponge, which is perfect. Very hot, but very delicious. I hope you give this recipe a go and have a wonderful World Chocolate Day. Thank you so much for cooking with me today, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Thermomix UK and Ireland. Thanks so much, and see you again soon.